ladies and gentlemen, it's a great pleasure to address you here today in this Rail Baltica Forum. I will tell you a little bit about our plans, about the project that was mentioned by our Minister of Transportation and Communications on the opening speech yesterday. It is called Vilnius Connect. It's an important initiative that we undertake here in the city of Vilnius, and it is the major multifunctional business and mobility hub that we envision. And please let me to take you through the journey of this initiative to share our plans and visions with this nice community. A little detour about Vilnius, about history. So back in 1859, we had a line construction work started from St. Petersburg and Warsaw. And finally, our Vilnius railway station received the first train arriving in 1862. That's a number of years ago, and of course, at that time, the technology was steam, the train station was fabulous at the time, and that opened a new era for our citizens, for the inhabitants of the city, actually switching from the horse travel straight into the train travel, changing the habits, opening new horizons, and connecting us to our neighbors. That was the start of the journey. Today, on the same spot, we still have our main train station of this country, of our capital, Vilnius. This old train station was fully reconstructed and rebuilt back in 1950 after the Second World War. And currently, this station and this object represents a 21 hectare of infrastructure land, which is occupied actually in the very heart of our capital. On this territory, we have more than 50,000 square meters of the buildings, and we use them for technical reasons, for technical purposes, to service our local operations, both for passenger and cargo businesses. And of course, because of the historic development of the area, current needs and current integration of different purposes across the buildings, across the means of transportation, is not exactly at the level that we would envisage to have a modern European capital. So why we arrived at a decision to take an initiative to step on some change on this territory? So first of all, we understand that just a railway station or just a territory is not exactly enough to attract our travelers and to be an integrated component of the city. We say that this territory should be converted into a mobility center that will connect different means of transportation, from bus, rail, and also aviation. I need to tell you also that this territory today is seen by the citizens more as a dividing wall, actually separating city into two bits, rather than a connection or attraction point. And of course, if you imagine that a train station, major train station, central train station of the capital is a gates where you actually arrive to the city. And we expect that this status, this city gates concept for such a transport and mobility hub will be actually put in place on this territory. And of course, it is great opportunity that we have such a tremendous project called Rail Baltica actually arriving and connecting into this facility. So that will give absolutely different level of opportunities, different speeds and different service level for our passengers. It is important also to mention that city sees such a development and such initiative as a long-term social investment, changing fundamentally perception about this territory in the city. And we need to say that this would not be possible without active involvement of city municipality, because the environment, the social aspect, perception of the citizens, support of the citizens is very critical for such a tremendous change in the very heart of the city. And yes, we are situated in very city center, and this should become an attraction center rather than an area of industrial operations or rail operations that is a barrier for connectivity for our citizens. We looked at other examples to find an inspiration, to look what other countries are doing, other capitals are doing. We hear a lot about developments in Latvia, in Riga, about their projects, but we also went to see already live projects. What happens in Vienna? How Berlin rail station looks like. And we understand that this is the source of inspiration, this is the dimension, this is the direction where we should be going forward. These are multimodal, multifunctional centers. These are no longer just train stations. And this is the concept that we actually take on board, and this is the fundamentals that we will be following with our initiative. So why we think this will be a very good location and project that will satisfy a lot of different needs. First of all, it is very close to our old town. This is UNESCO heritage site, very close to the rail station. You can arrive and literally walk 2 minutes and you're in the middle of the old town. This is not on the outskirts somewhere in the fields. It's really in the heart of the old town. Of course, we will be working to improve our connection to airport, which is 5 minutes away, a nice destination to fly out. So integrity and multimodality will be one of our objectives. Also, let's not forget that around this area currently we have our neighborhoods, our so-called micro-districts. We have 3 of them: Senamiestis, Naujamiestis, and Naujininkai. And these are not exactly the best developed areas. So city expects that such an object in the middle of the city will boost the development of these areas, and inhabitants will actually feel the difference in the quality of life, accessibility of the travel, and overall availability of the services and new infrastructure in the city. Also, we look very pragmatically. We look at our passenger flow. So currently in this area around our rail station, we have approximately 5 million passengers annually, which is expected to double in next 10, 12 years. So even existing infrastructure we see that will not be able to cope, but also it creates a new possibility to provide a new level of service for these passengers. Also, multifunctionality and mobility hub concept is very important for us, opening new opportunities for travel. So what is our vision? It's a nice picture. First of all, this should be a place that connects districts of the city, connects all the modes of the transport, but also inspires the change. So you can come here and see that city is changing. We are investing our infrastructure in getting new traction. We're no longer back in 1950s with our designs, but we provide the service, the quality, the space for the modern society to develop into the modern European capital. We will be looking to have combination of different aspects in this territory. It's very important to have community and public social spaces so people can meet, people can find it attractive place to visit, and along with mobility hub functions, which I already mentioned, this will be very seamless integration of different means. Of course, such an area would need additional aspects, and we plan to develop alongside with this area office facilities and hotels, because it is very central location in the city and very close to attraction points in the city, like Old Town. Definitely 10 million people, 10 million passengers and visitors would require all the services that comes along with shopping and food and all the different leisure and all the type of services. We expect that such a combination of functions, as we see in other capitals, would work very well in our case, in our city. So from practical point of view, we plan to execute such an initiative in stages. Here on the screen you can see 4 major stages that we envisage. Of course, we are currently in the middle of planning and designing stage where we probably may still adjust some of the works, but our vision is the following. The stage 1 will actually cover our current operational facilities of Lithuanian railways, which will be converted into modern buildings. Stage 2 will actually convert the railways station as such, covering and crossing into the other side of the territory. And here we actually plan to connect with stage 3 with all the planning that comes from Rail Baltica. This connection should actually come together into design, fulfilling requirements both of the city but also Rail Baltica as a service line. And stage 4 will be developing the edges going into the width and up to the levels that would be required commercially for such an object to be really viable. So why we think there's going to be a success? We already did a number of steps since origination of this initiative, which started last year. First of all, we agreed on cooperation with Vilnius city municipality. We gained a political support, and currently we're working very close with the city to proceed on this project. Secondly, we are preparing a master plan for the territory, and we expect that this will be completed in a due course. We also applied for a very special status, to have a special regional importance project status, which after discussions was granted to this project, which additionally supports the idea and the importance of this initiative. We also started talking to the business community about new possibilities to come and invest in this territory, because we don't expect that this will be state-funded or only our own cash flow funded into this project. We will allow private businesses to come and contribute in this area. Of course, very important, is to start building the new community and new perception of our citizens. And last year, I need to mention that our team of the project, along with our communications team, already started converting and promoting this idea into the public. And here, we actually prepared a short video to show you how this work is being done and how citizens and guests of our capital attending our initiatives at the rail station. I will ask to play the video if possible. We expect this to be a great success for our city, and we are very pleased that Rail Baltica will be connecting into Vilnius Connect. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.